Hi everybody, it's Miss Brenner. Today we are going to be reading Beyond the Brave by Emily Costello. You should have your article in front of you that you picked up in the bin today in the front of the classroom. So we are going to be starting right at the introduction that says, A Young Surfer's Story of Survival. If you look at your article, you can see that there are several reading questions along the left-hand side, and that as you go, you will be answering questions. I will tell you in the video which questions to answer and when to pause the video. So that way you can take your time and move at your own pace to answer the questions and follow along. So we are going to be starting with the introduction. A Young Surfer's Story of Survival. When Bethany Hamilton was 13, a tiger shark attacked her. The champion surfer from Hawaii lost her left arm. A month later, she was surfing again. Bethany proved that she was a true survivor. So we're going to take a moment and look at that introduction. In case the picture at the top is kind of blurry, here are some other pictures of Bethany Hamilton to give you an idea of how her life is now and how far she's come since her interaction that we just heard about in the introduction. So, that introduction, what I want you to do, right underneath what we just read, I'd like you to make a prediction based on the article's introduction about the information the author will address in the article. So, we've talked about predictions prior. Predictions use foreshadowing or clues provided by the author to take a guess as to what's going to happen next. So, along with that, a good introduction should foreshadow the main information presented in an article. Based on what we just read, please write underneath the introduction and above the section that says the attack, what you think the author is going to talk about in this article. So take a moment, pause the video, and write that. Now we're going to be moving on to the section that says the attack. The morning Bethany was attacked started like most days. The devoted athlete was out in the ocean surfing at her favorite spot. Her best friend, Elena, was nearby. Elena's father, Holton Blanchard, was also with them. The water was peaceful that morning. Bethany was lying sideways on her board, waiting for a wave. It was just past 7:30. So what I'd like you to do, if you look in the left-hand column of your article, there is an area that says target word. The word for here is devoted. I'd like you to write down what devoted means. So you'd fill that in on the article. If you don't remember what devoted means, you can look at your vocab chart that we completed in class last week. Then what I'd like you to do is rate your understanding of the definition. If you were able to remember the definition without looking at your vocab chart, you would probably rate it as a 4, which is I know it and I can use it. If you couldn't remember what the word meant, you might want to write it as a 2 or a 1. Either I've seen it or heard it, or a 1, I don't know the word. After you've done that, I'd like you to complete the example sentence that is there in the column where it says target word. So pause the video and do that. After you're done doing that, I'd like you to move on and write in the space provided in the left-hand column that's blank, based on the author's description of the setting, what form of irony may the author be using to describe the unusual events of the story? So we've been over irony, and there are 3 forms. If you don't remember what the different forms of irony are, or what they stand for, I have them posted here on the slide for you. So I'm going to reread that section that I'm asking about irony for. The water was peaceful that morning. Bethany was lying sideways on her board, waiting for a wave. It was just past 7:30. So pause the video and write down what form of irony you think the author is hinting at in that section. All right, we're going to move forward then. So you're going to turn the page. We won't be on the back side, but we will be on page 13 of the article at the very top. So suddenly, without a sound or a splash, a 15-foot tiger shark appeared. It grabbed hold of Bethany's left arm with an enormous jaw. Bethany gripped her board as tightly as she could. She fought for her life with all her strength. Suddenly, the shark let go. It slipped under the water and disappeared. Based on what we just read, and the circumstances that Bethany encountered, how would you have reacted? I want you to ask yourself, what would you have done in those circumstances? While we're talking about circumstances, if you look on the back page that says academic vocabulary, there is a row for the word circumstances. Just like we did for vocabulary prior, I'd like you to answer what circumstances means, how you would rate your understanding of the definition, and complete the example sentences. So pause the video and do the target word for circumstances. We're going to continue reading from there. So, the shark had taken a 17-inch wide bite out of Bethany's board, and its fist-sized teeth had chomped off her arm just below the shoulder. I looked down at the water, Bethany said. It was really red from all the blood. All right, so we are going to now complete the main idea and details column, which is on the right-hand side of page 13. It says, write. There we go. It says, write. What is the main idea of the section, the attack? You're going to restate and answer that question. So remember, if we don't restate, our audience doesn't know what we're answering. Although the question is written there clearly, I'd still like you to practice restating the question. After you've restated and answered the question, I want you to go back through the section that is labeled the attack and give 2 important details of the main idea in that section. You're going to underline what you think the important details that support that main idea are. This is very similar to our RAGES format that we use for writing, where you restate an answer and then give an example and explain the example. So pause the video and complete the main idea and details section for the attack part of the article. Once you are done with that, we're going to continue on reading the rescue section of the article. So, the rescue. Bethany knew she needed urgent help to survive. She paddled over to Elena and Holt. At first, Holt didn't know what to think or do. He hadn't seen a struggle. He hadn't heard Bethany cry out. Then he saw the blood. He saw that Bethany's arm was missing. Now Holt was scared. The surfers were 200 yards from shore. Holt had to get Bethany there before she bled to death. Bethany held onto Holt's swimsuit. He frantically towed her to shore. He hauled her onto the sand. Then Holt used a surfboard leash, a sort of plastic cord, to stop Bethany's bleeding. There on the sand, Bethany finally passed out. So, now that we've finished the rescue section, I'd like you to answer the questions about the target word urgent. If you go back to the academic vocabulary section, that looks like that, the word urgent is the second row. You're going to tell me what is the meaning. You're going to rate your understanding of the meaning and complete the example sentences. I'd also like you to do the same for the word frantically. If you look carefully, there is not a row for the word frantically. So underneath the surfboard that is illustrated on page 13 with the giant chunk being bitten out of it by the shark, I'd like you to write down the meaning of frantically, rate your understanding of the word frantically, and then create an example sentence and write it below the surfboard on page 13. After you've completed the vocabulary, please write the main idea for the section, the rescue. So just like we did for the attack section, I'd like you to restate and answer what you think the main idea of the rescue section is. Remember that you need to restate. After you've written and restated, underline and identify 2 important details that support the main idea in the section, the rescue. You can pause the video at this time to do the restating for the rescue section. If you need to pause the video or go back, you can do that at any time. So if you need to look at the slides and read them, you can do that as well. At this point, I'd also like to inform you that after you're done doing the writing portions on pages 12 and pages 13, I'd like you to look for proper nouns. We've been going over parts of speech, and we should practice looking for proper nouns. Circle all the proper nouns in the sections that we read today, which was the introduction, the attack, and the rescue. Proper nouns are a name or title of a specific person, place, or thing. Proper nouns should always be capitalized. So some examples of things you should be looking for to circle are Bethany, Hawaii, and things like Snickers or specific items would also be proper nouns. So go back through what we just read and circle any word that would be a proper noun. At this time, that is the end of part 1 of this part 2 series that we will be doing for reading. If you have any questions, you can pause the video at any time and raise your hand and ask me. Thank you.